Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Opus Magnum. Let's hop into this. Yeah, I'm not even sure. It's been maybe a day or two since I last played, so I'm not 100% sure where we are in the story. I guess we were on the verge of equipping the House Soraya lady to potentially assassinate. At least that's what it seems like we're equipping her to do, is assassinate the guy who killed all of our house members. Let me know if you'd like the jewel, if you'd like the jewel your tiara to. Let me know how you'd like the jewel of your tiara to look. Terra's Colvane isn't one for subtlety. He needs to be dazzled by everything he sees. We made gold before in the previous puzzle, so I guess we're going to use some of this gold now. If my sword indicates nobility, the jewel should imply obscene wealth. But it would be a shame to make some overwrought bauble just for his benefit. Why not have something you truly want to wear? Maybe. I don't want to tempt myself to imagine this is anything but a plot with a specific aim, a specific target. Perhaps Taros' interest will grow all the more if you present yourself in a way that suits you. Okay, that's a frightening proposition. So we're making jewelry now. And this jewelry, I mean, it's just insanely complicated. Like, these puzzles are getting even more. I guess the good news is we're starting off with gold, so that helps. And we're starting off with earth and another earth. Okay, so that's not too crazy. It's just slightly crazy because look at the combinations we have here as we're making basically a Star of David around this. I wonder if we weren't given any new thing either. So I wonder if this is mostly just going to be around the idea of pivoting something. Like, you can get into the middle there, certainly, there and there. But that would imply I would have to have the whole jewel at that point. So I think you probably, in all honesty, probably want to squeeze this as far as you can this way. And this is a crazy pattern. Yeah, at lower resolutions, you really are not going to have any room for this. I'm thinking something even to this extent would be difficult to build upon. Not impossible. In fact, it's not impossible that you could build your piece directly on top of this to save room. The question to ask though is how much overlap and how many connections should we use, or do we want to use? Let's see. Because at a certain level, you could just have this piece here and then have it pivot one, and every time it pivots, give it a green around it, and every time it pivots and gets a green, then we would need something else. Yeah, the question is, what is the shape you want to make here? What's the repetition? Is it one here, one here, one here, one here? Yeah, I think that would work best to go for something that is a 1 salt and 1 earth. And put that on. And how would this play out? Put 2 pieces here, pivot 1, put 1 piece there, and then you don't have a connection between that and that, so you would have to get this out of the way. And that's not particularly the easiest of ways to do this. Yeah, I wonder if it shouldn't be something closer to just trying to make a full connection or a full ring. Because if we made a full ring this way, and we would then have to basically emulate that and make a full ring the other way. Or mirror it, not emulate it. I don't think mirroring is even the right word. Invert it, perhaps, might be the best word. That pattern and that pattern will get you everywhere except for the center, and then the center could just be spun on this center spot easily enough. It then would just be a question of the bigger step, because that gets you the ring to here, to here, to here. So that gets you the greens. Now, how do we get the others? Like this. And then this. That would get that connection. And kind of nothing else. Like, I guess if you're just moving down this line, everything would connect. And so this might work. But the absolute nightmare to this is you're gonna have to start over here. Yeah, I'd have to move the entire output on this side, because we've got to start 100% with this. And if that's the case, then we should probably just start with that. Let's see. Number one, we'll grab this and then rotate here, and then at some point it will start pivoting. Meanwhile, we need something with a long arm that isn't going to particularly be in the way, and it wouldn't crash. Probably here with that one. And it's going to grab one and then rotate and then reset and then pivot. So let's see how that works. Yeah, unfortunately, I think this is going to kind of run into the same problems that a lot of this code has run into, in that we are going to have to put a whole bunch of code right at the front, taking up an entire row, and then once we've done that entire row, we're going to have to put a whole bunch more code later. Do we want to set this back a little bit further? I put 2 pivots. Why did I put 2 pivots? It kind of doesn't even matter when this pivot happens. See, at this point would be where it would, I guess, need to drop and reset. Probably needs to rotate, then drop and reset. I don't even know why I really want to try and optimize this here, but we'll give it a try. Nope. That went too far. So the minimal steps are here. And that probably means we need something like that. Okay. That just sets everything back to where it should be. So then, next question. If I was to put something here, can I stretch this out further? Yes. So we'll give ourselves hopefully enough room. Now. And this one, this one. Can we get this in a place where an arm can stay out of the way? This is the real question, I guess. Because, like, ideally you'd want it here. And then you would... And then we're gonna start by picking it up, pivoting or rotating twice, and resetting. And then the pacing there would probably be, don't do it at this point, but do it at this point. Don't do it at this point, but do it at this point. And that seems like that gives you 3, where we need 6. Okay, I don't even have enough room. See how that works. Well, it would work if I could get it to happen twice, but we also still have a considerable lack of connections happening here. Let's adjust for that. And let's see. Repeat. 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 I think that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that should be the number of times that needs to happen, which means we probably will just have to add more steps, because this thing is just always going to take 2 movements. That there fixes that problem. So if we just put another connection here, I think we fix this problem. And I honestly could not even map my mind around why this layout works as well as it seems like it is going to work. But I think I can say is this, and this. Let's just do 3 pivots are probably necessary. Let's line up each of these repeats. Of course, because we moved the repeats, that now means we need to move the pivots, which, yeah, that's kind of a nightmare. Let's see. See how that works. Pivots are too late now. So we'll move them all to the left 1. And crash. Crash and burn there. but we can adjust for that. I think. We'll just start further. I mean, I don't even think that uses more area. And so then now it's just going to be spinning the other direction. Problem here, of course, is going to be where it starts. Probably is a more efficient way to get everything to work, but we'll see. I'm not sure I needed that many pivots, which honestly, if I could get rid of 2, then that would only bump us up 1. Nope, I do need at least 1 more pivot. Plus we now need to figure out where this final position would be, which we can just set it there. There's no way that this is going to use the least amount of space, but it might be fairly cheap. Well, definitely it feels like if I was going to try and use an extendable arm or a rack or something like that, a track, not a rack, although torturing the programming does sound appealing to me at this point. Like, I might save a few gold here and there, but I also think the whole system would really suck. See, we might be able to optimize by putting the code here and the solution there. So if we put this match here and that there, I might be able to get rid of 1 twist. So let's see if that works. If I am going to do that, I'm going to need another pivot, I think. Nope. I don't need another pivot, I need something here. I may still need another pivot. With something this big, it's kind of ridiculous for them to have to make you 6 of the same thing, particularly if this is supposed to be the actual jewel. Although I guess at a certain point you have to determine in your own imagination, are these engine symbols here really just a way in which you're telling a transmutation engine to build something multiple times, or what's not connected needs another pivot, even yet another one, or are you actively making something with this? Like, I think logically you have to take it as each of these are like atoms or like chemicals. They are giant representatives of what would be. Okay. So now, let's get rid of all the extra stuff. And we can get the gold down. I'm gonna have to pan around quite a bit to see this. And let's see where we're going. Like, area to start with, you have an area of 53. I don't know if that's even particularly large, because you've got so many pieces here taking up space anyways. I want to get general ideas of that. Yeah, you really wouldn't have anything here that would be blocking this. Probably bring this in a little bit and have the gold a little bit closer if that matters, which probably means you could also bring in the air here. You could take one of these away probably also and get rid of an arm to save some money. I'm not sure I care enough. And then so you've got one here and one here that's used. And then one here that's used. So by the looks of it, that the same pattern here is what you're using. Like, almost certainly you can't use this to turn into salt, because that would mess things up. Probably could use this to turn things into salt though. Yeah. No real problem there with that one. So that means you could start with this here at the very least. And oh, I'm messing up something that works. I kind of hate to do that at this moment, so let's come out here and make a copy. I'm thinking this one. Probably just grab a piece here and put it there. I don't know if that specifically actually saves you any room. Let's see. And luckily it's all repeats, so I only have to change one bit of code. And I only have to change that, which means I could actually probably get rid of a lot of this delay at this point. Let's see if this works. Well, start with this and see where the pivot needs to happen. Needs to happen even earlier. Okay. Drag these over and move this. We may have what is shockingly efficient code here, or macros. Yeah, more and more I am really at the perspective and at the angle that these are macros. These are not real programming. And even if the last chapter did finally give us something that could sense what kind of gem you picked up, and then that would cause different marbles to act differently, it would be too little too late. That would probably make it closer to being Turing complete at that point, but well, what went wrong there? It makes the first one, makes a combination. There should be a connection there. And so why isn't there a connection there? Wonder if pivoting twice would make any sense. No, it seems like you'd probably still need to just pivot more. What's going on here? Why all of a sudden does that not work? Maybe this just takes too long. Or I have done something here that wasn't supposed to do. Everything wants to crash with everything, but I think at that point that was a specific crash that does actually tell me my mistake is wrong. Yeah, we need 2 of these at once. Yep, I bet I moved around a bunch of stuff that didn't need to be moved around. Let's go back to our previous code. This is the closest thing we have to a versioning software where we could check. Yeah, everything is lined up, but this one moves twice. And this one is swinging over here to attach here. So the placement's wrong. I think. Number 2 needs second pivot. which means it needs that, which means it needs that. Not a second pivot, actually, a second twist. Three doesn't need a second pivot. This does need a second pivot. Yeah, and I don't really get the logic to it, but we'll follow it and just try to debug it as much as possible. We definitely need a pivot here, or one to the left of there. Like, you're not going to get anywhere else in the code without that. But it's at this point where I'm confused as to what I even did before, because it seemingly feels like this is the only way this would have ever worked, is that you would have pivoted this, and then that would have been over there, and then it would have been like this. Which, that's fine if we write the code to work that way. But here's our collision. So that can't be there. Shouldn't be too big of a problem. Why does that immediately mess up then? Why does it mess up then and didn't mess up before? And there is just like some utter insanity as far as the timing of how things go. Just let it go so I can spin it. This letting go and reset. This letting go and reset. Wow. Two different directions at once. This doesn't make any sense. 3 should be letting go of theirs. Yes, 2 should be letting go of theirs. 1 should not be doing anything. Seems like it thinks number 1 is doing something when it isn't. Which, you know, I would not be surprised one bit if the code is just poorly interpreted. Like, 3 is not handling or doing anything. One is picked up, rotated. This is a rotate and a rotate. It doesn't need a rotate and a rotate. Okay. Alright, we're back on track. Problem is you crash. The only way this is going to work is if you either have an extendable arm or if you have a track. And then if you have a track, you have to be extremely careful when you bring it in and when you bring it out, which would add more time. So instead of bothering with that, let's just do the extendable arm. Code is going to be grab, extend twice, and then reset. And that feels like this one could probably rotate a little bit earlier. In fact, fairly considerably earlier. Okay. Next stop on this code is somewhere around this 3 spot. Either it's like this or it's wrong. One pivot, then it pivots again when it doesn't need to. I should just wait here. And then that means number 3 should just wait. Yeah, and that gets us back on track. But I think that pivots too early. And that probably means don't repeat that one either. Yeah, we were fairly off track there. Like, I almost just really fell into completely misunderstanding why it was working because I didn't fully understand why it worked in the first place. And that's not helpful, certainly, to have code that you've written that you don't understand why it works. Sadly, that is often the case, and so, sadly, often you don't have time or the luxury to try and figure out why things are working when by seemingly all rights it shouldn't be working. Alright, maybe there's just a bit of a stagger here that needs to happen. No. Now would be the time to put that. Then now would be the time to put that one. Hmm. Let's see if maybe there's just a repetition that has to happen at this point. It works well to that point. And then that doesn't work. Okay. Think we probably have to see if we can put a pivot there. So that's kind of where we're putting all the code. We need another repeat, and we need more time before it decides to pivot any further, which is just making the code go on forever with lots and lots of waiting, which a lot of code, particularly when you're having to have human interactions, is just waiting. Like, there's kind of no way around it. Like, there might be some crazy system here where you could have this pivot twice and then put things in, and then that would have more things turn to salt instead of adding the few steps here at the end to just go in circles all the way around. But yeah, I don't know if that's really worth it. When that pivots over like that, probably is taking up more room where we could have an arm on a track. Let's just call that good though. At this, we could probably replace this and go back to swinging. And so we'll try that after we get the solution. Yeah, this is an area of 42, and we don't even know if 42 as an area is even particularly small. No, 42 is the kind of minimum, and the cost is kind of the minimum, and the number of cycles is not even that bad. Let's just copy that, and I think we can talk about just briefly how would you get the cost down. Get the cost down by bringing this back this way, replacing this with this, extending this so it was here. I think if you swing that way, it probably would hit that though. Well, you could still do a track thing. Like, yeah, you could make a minimal thing where you had this, then you took another step, and then you went here, and then you did a twist there. And that would save you 10 gold. Is there another way to potentially save money here? Probably. If you were to, instead of having one here like this, instead pick this up and then push it. Could we get it all in the right places though? That's the question. Here, here, here. If we had one here, and then we pushed it here, obviously we could do that. That's what we just had. But then the question would be, can you put that somewhere where it would make a lot of sense? Probably somewhere like here, because if you could pick up this one from this spot, pick this one up here and put it here, and potentially pick up this one and pivot and then put it here instead. That might work. And then the only final question would be, how can you get a piece here? I think tracks would solve that problem too. So do this, put that there. Take this out. Rotate that here. Which, yeah, I don't think it matters. Let's drop 4 and then drop this one in here. Start with that as your starting position. Yeah, this would work. This would totally work. You would simply grab here, take it and reset, and we'll have to put the pivot later, and then at the reset position you are going to then retract, grab, I don't even know if you really want to reset to that position or if it would just be easier to reset twice to this one, but whatever. Grab it after retracting, rotate 1, let go, and then Ooh, this one might be kind of hard to do. Yeah, returning to a default position over and over again is going to quickly become useless. Reset. Rotate. Take a step forward. And yeah, probably would be easier to just start with this spot. Extend. Like have your default position here. Grab, rotate. 1. And then take a minus. And then an extend, and then a reset at that point. This code's gonna get incredibly busy and messy already. Grab another one. Rotate and reset. And then grab probably did this wrong, but maybe not. Let's see. The last action should be to extend, grab the gold. And then rotate. And then go to the negative. Then reset again. Also pivot. Let's see if this works. And just get rid of that. We're all in on this dumb idea. Alright, so that immediately fails as an idea. Because we'll crash into a gym fairly quickly, I think. Yep. Extend, grab. Extend again. And see, that would have to be So like ignoring the rest of this code, which is probably wrong, and quickly just evolving into a whole bunch of pivots, which I guess is what it probably was already. Let's just get rid of all that code. We need a way for this to work, which isn't too crazy. It's just minus pivot and then extend, then reset. Nope. That's not where I needed to put the code. Here's where I needed to put the code. Minus pivot, extend, reset. Actually, all the code was there already, with maybe the exception of I need 2 extends. Okay. Here's where it all falls apart, though. You need this bit of code to be repeated multiple times. 6 times. With it ending also with a let go, grab it, and extend it. So we'll do it once, but that's it. So it's pick up, minus, rotate, extend, reset. Alright. Pick up, minus, extend, drop, extend again, pick up, pivot, reset. Forgot to rotate. Have to rotate in the exact right time or you will crash. Seemingly, though, as far as trying to save area, I kind of feel like you are hovering over each of these. So this is taking up area also. Almost certainly. And if I wanted to save more area, instead of having it rotate at the end, I would simply have this go in the other direction. Go down the track for another 10. So you might end up spending about 10 more gold, but yeah, that's it. Now, arguably at this point, you are not just repeating the first bit of code, you've got to repeat the second bit of code also. Which means you definitely can't pick up gold and smack it into that. So, all of this code would have to be copied over here, which would pretty much mean if I just copied all of this code, if you just had the ability to copy and paste, if I could just take this whole section of code, copy and paste it 6 times, I would be done. But having to do that manually is crazy. Like, and if I was going to play a lot of these games, I guess at a certain point I might go outside of the program itself and use a macro program to type in specific keys. And then I could write down these keys. It would be way not worth it, but it definitely would be a thought. Alright. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put 3 negatives here to just show where this would go. Just to see. Yeah. I don't know why I'm organizing code I'm not even going to bother to finish. But area wise, that's how much area it would take up. And I don't know if there's really any way you could make it take up any less area than that. That seems about as compact for such a giant object. That's 38 and that's 115 gold. When we come back here, if our best time is 42, I wouldn't be surprised if 38 is the smallest area. And 150 gold, bringing it down to 115 would get us at least here. Now there does look like there's a tiny little sliver there. As far as a way to make this even cheaper, I don't see how. You could use a little less area, I suppose. Maybe. No, because if you put the gold here, it would just crash. If you put the gold here, it would just crash. If you grab this and then you put it onto the field before these gems were here, it wouldn't crash. And so there is a thought there. So I could probably get the area from 42 or whatever it is right now down to 41. Like, because when you start, it starts at 38. And then when it grabs this, it adds a 39 when it hovers over this, a 41, a 40, 41, and 42. Which must mean this one, and this one are all touched by that. Wow, that does explain how these area numbers get so big. Alright. So I could change the code a little bit there. Big question here. How would you optimize this? Just to reduce the number of cycles. It probably would be a nightmare, I would have to say. Let's get rid of these. And start with just assuming that there's going to be 2 salts here. This might be more efficient instead of running a whole bunch of things over everything. Because if you made a pattern here, let's try this. If you have a pattern here, that gets that part. If you have a pattern here, that gets that part. And the two would connect as you overlap on things. In fact, so much so that I don't even think you probably would need that at all. You might just be better off balancing it out like that, because it is backward connection here. Maybe you need it. Yeah. Okay. Let's just get rid of everything. So, same thought, pattern here. Now would have to be something like that. Pattern here would have to be something like that. So then that covers this pattern and that pattern. What about the central pattern here? Yeah. I think you gotta play for that one too. I think the pattern is actually closer to something like this, where you just got that center line covering everything. So probably means you need something like this. Yeah, are these? This would line up this pattern, and that would line up that pattern. But we also have a pattern here that we need to do, which would need to be here. Which means I think we have to have a pattern there. And I think we have to have one there. I think that does everything you need it to do. Now I guess the question would be, is there any more efficient way to do this, or would it just all be an attempt at making something really fast and then dropping it down? What interests me about this thought is, could you possibly have something that would reach a little bit further, like this, and that way you could have say a piece here, grabbing, and a piece here, grabbing. Although, I don't know if that works any better because you still need the gold in the middle, and I think it kind of gets kind of crazy at that point. Yep. My instincts are telling me that this would just be so incredibly unmanageable that there would be no reason to attempt it. Like, just to build, in the process of building your device, you would take up so many cycles that anything you saved by passing over this way and making a conveyor belt of the whole system probably isn't a savings, really. Because honestly, you still have a limiting factor on the inputs where you can pick one thing up and then you can just pick up the next thing a little bit faster, but that's it. So in this case, like, you can pick one thing up, let go, pick up. That's your limiting factor there. There's not anything that would be faster than that. Well, maybe twice as fast as that, but that's about it. Let's see. Unless we could somehow cheat the system and say arms can't grab other arms, which we should try that. It's worth a chance. Grab an arm and rotate it. If I could grab an arm and rotate the arm, then this code would be a lot closer to being Turing complete. But no, that's a no-go. Alright, well, I think I could see how I could lower the area and the cost. And once again, cycles, which is really the thing you should care about if this was a better programming language and not really just a collection of scripted actions like a macro, I would be much more interested in doing cycles, but they really lost me on the idea of being efficient through cycles, which would be the only real efficiency if this was just a pure computer program. Okay, let's continue the story. If it were up to me, I would dispense entirely with this vain and empty grandeur. That's a bit rash, don't you think? These rituals hold important meanings. This is a funny story because you're doing alchemy, but everybody is kind of preaching this theme of sticking to and honoring the old ways of doing things, which arguably does feel very Chinese. It's a Chinese moral almost, and I think Zachtronics is a Chinese company that is being preached through a fictional story that there shouldn't be change, which doesn't make any sense for alchemy. Alchemy is all about change, and programming and improving is all about change. If anything, we should totally be embrace change and be somehow working for the bad guy who got rid of the old houses who are stodgy and inefficient. I wouldn't be surprised if you could write our main character to be from that perspective. The only other thing I could think is maybe this Soraya is secretly the mastermind here, and so she engineered the assassination of her potential suitor and the destruction of her house, and now she's getting rid of a lackey or getting rid of a pawn. I wouldn't be surprised if Soraya was actually controlling the head alchemist of the bad guy, who told the bad guy basically to get rid of the weak house. Perhaps they did once, but they're they've gotten lost over time. All the more reason to preserve it before it's lost forever. But it's all posturing, empty symbols. How many of us carry swords and can't even use them? Well, at least the jewel looks lovely on you. Thank you, Concordia. Maybe one day I'll be able to wear it purely for myself. This is another conversation, by the way, that literally just starts with Anataeus and then completely leaves him out of the story. Like, the writers clearly have forgotten that Anataeus even existed as a character. Let's play a little Sigmar's Garden, not because I'm particularly irritated, although I could certainly see myself getting to that direction, but just because I want to potentially get 10 victories, just to know what will happen at that point, and hopefully what will happen is that will be the end of any requirement for more story, and then we would be purely left on our own accord if we wanted to play more Sigmar's Garden to get an achievement. Let's see. This one would be exposed if it wasn't a metal. Am I gonna have to use salt against salt? Let's see. Mercury on a metal. Mercury on a metal. This one on this one. This one on this one. This is salt, so we probably would want to open up another salt instead of opening up just an air. Get rid of this one. Mercury on the middle. Salt on this. Mercury on the middle. Huh? Did we ever use salt on salt? No. We never use salt on salt. But apparently we use too many salts, and you have to have one salt on salt to win. I mean, arguably you should just win once you get gold, or once you get the center spot. Wow. So apparently to win Sigmar's Garden, you have to use a salt on salt. Alright, golden thread. No surprise as to what this is going to be. Just supplies with the thread. I'll take care of the rest of it. You sure the thread to complete the dress? From thread to complete dress? I still know all the suppliers of the Phantascent raiment. They'll know what to do. This is amounting to quite the production. Yeah, the idea of putting gold in things is often ridiculous. Gold is fairly rare and very little is needed. Like gold plating things is a great example of that. Like, sure, if you gold plate the right thing, it might not rust, but you can almost always scratch off the gold plating if it's not a tool or something that's not ever going to be scratched. Gold in electronics makes sense, but only at the microscopic scale. A gold-plated grounding connector on an HDMI cable, for instance, is pointless. Yeah. A lot of times gold is just used to be shiny, and very little gold is actually necessary to put a incredibly thin layer on things. In this case, gold thread, unless you used an incredibly small amount, would be incredibly heavy. So the stress would hold her down. If her plot is to assassinate somebody, that's not going to be helpful at all. Even if she just had to flee because something went wrong, that's a bad idea. It would be much easier to just use yellow thread, color it yellow, put flakes of gold if necessary in a few places, but not even that. Probably just use fool's gold. It's a shame that Van Tassen won't gain the benefit of the work. The ball gown made of pure gold certainly would have fit well with their sense of style. Oh, Frederick, I wish you could be there to see it. Yeah, it'd be hard to really believe, though, that she is the bad guy in this story. That seems kind of ridiculous. And so we have a slightly different gold challenge, where we will be using elemental salt and gold. And since gold is a metal, you can't actually use this. So that's out. So you can also pretty much assume that this is going to take up that much, and more room will be taken up in the center spot. It is this X pattern that's going to be kind of a hassle. It may not be that big of a hassle. Like, that really may just be it. Let's see if we can find a spot here and here. Would have that go that direction, which for space savings we'll do it that way. Which then that would require a track, but I think we're going to use a track regardless. Yeah, let's just do something fairly fancy here. Take that. And go that far. Take that and go that far. And if we put an extendable arm here, can we reach there? Yes, we can. Okay. Do this. Do this. Let's just assume this much is going to be filled in. Okay, so this would make this shape, And this would make this shape. But what connects the two? We have a potential flaw there in our plan. But maybe not too much of a flaw. What if we were to put one there? And then obviously we would mirror it down here. We don't want everything connected though. We want to make a ring, and then at the edge of the ring we want it to connect. Which might just mean we need this to move over. Or we just make a connection to start with. So the pattern may very well be we make this, 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 and this. Let's try it. Pick one up. Then go 2, 3 plus, then reset. Then let's see. Go 1 forward, extend the arm, grab 1, then go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See if 5 is enough. We may not need a 6, and then reset. Let's see how this works. Put that there. Forgot to put the other salt down. Pick up 1. I think is all we really need. 1 plus, and then a reset. Okay. I think it is backwards. And I'm strangely confused as to how it could be backwards, but it does look backwards. Looks to me like we need this to happen later. Oddly may make up a bunch of room. Well, before we do anything, let's just see if... Did I do that right, or did I just... No, I didn't do it right. See if that works. No connection there, which is fine. Of course, no connection there also. Oh, and there, no connection there also. And this is where I would want the other piece to end. Like, kind of being stubborn here as far as not willing to move things around when clearly things should be moved around. Right. Make your copies. While we do this. Get rid of one of those. Do that. Get one of those. Do that. Let's move that forward one while we're still working on it. I think I need to probably move it forward too. Yeah. Oh man, I just am getting really tired of this game not being able to bump code forward. Right. So at this point, yeah, I think that works. Yep, it totally works. So then it would just be a factor of saving money and saving space. And I guess the easiest way to save money and save space would be to make a repeat But you can't really repeat, can you? You can kind of repeat the code, but you're going to have to make a slightly different choice at this point. Alright, well, we'll just do it by hand. That would be pick up plus reset. No difference there. The big difference will be here. It'll be pick up 1, 2, 3, probably 4. It's not intertangle these codes, and then extend extend. It's probably actually 5. And then reset. And this is going to use like 5 pieces of squares, but that's about it. Okay. We need that out of the way first, so we need to move all of this code actually way over. Let's just throw another one down here. Just drag that to this point. And it disappeared. Let's try Control Z and Control Z. Control Z. Alright, well, plus, 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 extend, extend, reset, cram all the code together, and create big problems for ourselves later. Problems we have no reason that we really would need or have or run into in any kind of other programming game or compiler. I suppose in all fairness, if I was gonna try and like make actual critical videos of well, that is way too many pluses. If I was going to really try and criticize compilers, I'd, one, not be the person really qualified to do that, but B, it would be incredibly boring. I'd have to think of entire, like, programming examples that happen in the real world, or programming examples that happen in education. Like, it is possible something like Python could be kind of great for education and kind of terrible for real-world programming. I'm not saying Python is terrible for real-world programming, but I could definitely see people making that argument. Yeah. If I move this one forward, by the way, it would just overlap this one, so you're still going to use the same area. And do a whole bunch of nothing because I have a whole bunch of extra space at the end. Oops. Oopsie daisy. Everything worked until it didn't. Where is this code going? Like, just try to drag it slightly askew and then it just disappears. Okay. We got this far. And so I guess my pattern needs to change somewhat so it goes down this direction and takes up 2 more spaces. It's not a big deal, but, and honestly that might be the smallest amount of area anyway, so 1. See how that works. Yep. So we're now up to 57. But that does feel very logical, and it feels like that would be the right amount of space that you would take up. Now I'm expecting, as we move this code along, we will, in the next cycle, hit 58, because the gold will go over the blank spot. Yep, it does take up 58, and so there's just no way you're gonna get it lesser than that. Yeah, I don't have any dead space or missed cycles in the code. This feels like this is probably the least amount of space you could do with it, and probably the least amount of money you could spend on it. And it's hardly like this is a particularly inefficient way of doing things. There is one obvious optimization we can have, assuming we have another salt resource. If not, we could speed it up still a little bit. 300 cycles is quite a lot, but yeah. Yeah. First attempt, we have gotten the least amount of cycles possible on the histogram. I mean, least amount of area on the histogram. Cost, though, I'm a little surprised. Like, how would you reduce cost here? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Could you swing some things around potentially to save some space? I guess you probably could. It wouldn't be insane to potentially build your pattern, and then once you get to a certain point, spin it around and have the other pattern here, and then have your final pattern facing the exact opposite direction, which you couldn't do that, so you'd have to rebuild this whole thing kind of backwards. And we had already done the least amount of space, right? So yeah, seems like, yeah, there's probably 2 cost solutions that would heavily revolve around the idea of a track with just 2. You're gonna need a track with just 2, and a lot of spinning. A lot of spinning to get rid of the cost and get rid of the track. And then you don't have another source of salt. So for efficiency's sake, what you would do is you would have something here, ready to go, ready to pull it out, and then you would do this, or you would just constantly try and put things here, and then you would have a unbonding at a certain spot where you would just push the whole thing this way and pull it maybe the other way to unbond here and here, and that probably would add just more steps. And then I don't know if there's really much efficiency, but there's probably enough efficiency to justify having a conveyor belt ready to go. That would be my guess as to what you would do. Just ready to go, like that. Grab one, get it ready. You really can't even move too fast though, because you have to deal with your limiting factor of sodium and the salt, and you can't do anything there with another track. So maybe you make a conveyor belt like that with some more of these ready to go. Would be my guess as to how this all plays out. And then conveyor belt yourself ready for that. And honestly, I don't know if you even need really it to be a conveyor belt, or if it couldn't just be a three-way run. But in every cycle, you can grab one, you can move forward. Now, something else could grab one here and move forward. So let's just do that. Grab and move forward. That's at that point, something else could grab and move forward, but it will just crash. That 3 was actually not one of them. And then, yep. If that's going to grab and move forward, that one would have had to move forward first. Yeah. And see, pretty much at this point, this one is getting back to being reset. So really what this one would have to do is retract, and then go forward about 3 times. And then maybe reset its position. Not retract, extend, retract. And yeah, at this retraction, something else could potentially grab and try and move forward or try and retract. Yeah. But it just becomes incredibly complicated and incredibly not worth actually trying to think that way, to have 5 or 6 arms grabbing things. Even when you look at conveyor belt technology and assembly line things, when you're watching things being assembled, your part counts and your points of failure become a valuable thing also to reduce. And there's just no consideration happening here for that. Like, in the real world, you would have one arm picking up a group of things, and you would just have big groups of reagents, not just one. And you would move in a smooth linear fashion down an assembly line, with each tool assembling 5 things at once, if possible. You wouldn't have a single robot arm picking up one object and putting it down. Even if you are using something like a robot arm to pick something up, again, it's always in groups, and it is the one arm to the many things, not the many arms to the one, let's call them widgets. That's the best word to use, really. So if you were to really assemble a machine, a factory that used so many arms, what would almost certainly happen is one of the arms would break, and thus one of the arms would be in the way of all the other arms, and so that entire station and that entire step in the assembly process would be down, and it would just slow down the entire process. It is a major single point of failure that hinders and doesn't help for any reason. So yeah, I just don't follow the logic. Like, honestly, if you were going to try and have multiple arms to make more widgets faster, didn't mean to say midgets there. What you would do instead is just have 2 assembly lines, which would be way more ideal. 2 separate inputs, 2 separate outputs. If one assembly line fails, everybody then all the employees work on the second assembly line while it's being fixed. It's easy to see how that would work better, having 2 separate things instead of having twice as many arms or assembly mechanics on one assembly line. Anyways, let's continue with the story. See the thread here? As thin and smooth as silk. And you plan to make the entire dress out of this? Quite the bold sartorial statement. Sartorial, I'm not sure I know what that word means. That's the plan. To have everyone's eyes on you. Interesting. So maybe she's just the distraction, and while everyone's looking at her, like, Concordia Lim is going to try to assassinate the guy. And maybe she'll fail, and maybe she'll get killed, and we'll end the story on a sour note. I wouldn't be surprised, frankly, where only the alchemist survives, and he's alone and sad. A nerve-wracking thought. At the same time, I'm practically bursting with anticipation for it. A strange admixture, that's a weird word too, of emotions, I'll admit. You're stronger than you know, Clara. You'll do wonderfully, I'm sure of it. Interesting that she would call her Clara, even if she asked to be called Clara. I would think Concordia Lim would be so set up in traditions of different classes existing that she would never call her by her first name. Concordia, thank you. But I guess maybe the whole point here is they addressed each other by their first names. They are true friends. So here we have the plot. Nils has been pretty much forgotten for this entire chapter. I'm surprised he came back. Nils, is that you? Wow, now we've got like 4 people in this visual novel style. Sorry to interrupt your alchemical intrigues, but I've come back to let you know that House Colvane is stepping up patrols through the border zones. They may have realized that there were some escapees. Took them long enough. Thank you for the warning. I have a few more things to do, but we should be out of here just as soon as I'm finished. Don't hesitate. They're clearly looking for someone. Clara, this is Nils. You could say he's a bit of an unsavory character. No, I know. Wait, you know Nils? Know him. I employ him. Only on a part-time basis. I always wondered how it was that you found us so easily. I'm almost offended you didn't realize it sooner. Your machinations are at a level far beyond ours, I'm afraid. And here I thought I'd found the only trustworthy thief in the city. Lady Soraya, I advise returning home now before there is any chance of being seen here. That's likely for the best, I agree. There's still the matter of the lipstick. Once you've made it, Nils can bring it to me on the night of the ball itself. Very well, one more thing, Clara. There will be chaos. I know, and I don't fear it. So now we have a background of the city, and so the entire city is zoomed out a little bit more. This was where we started here. Interesting. At the university. This was the House Van Tassen. No, this was the House Van Tassen. This is House Colvane. So really, the way the city is set up, unless these buildings are just huge, which maybe they are, and maybe that's the implication, is that this is a giant city with giant buildings, and that these little lights on the edge are much closer to the size of a standard house. But yeah, I kind of like the zooming out part. That being said, I don't think we're going to zoom out to anything particularly fantastic. This is House Soraya with the spherical look to it. So at the end of the day, you could kind of see House Soraya taking over all of these other houses and taking over the entire city. And this city may be all this world of this world we'll see. Do I want to read the invitation? I guess we have time. You're invited to the Fortunist Ball, the Celestial Ballroom, the Grand Observatory of House Soraya. So it's going to be taking place at House Soraya. They really couldn't add more of the city to show us. Maybe one more area in the final chapter, and that's it. And I can't imagine that there would be a sequel to this game, because the actual gameplay mechanics just stink. Frankly, if Zachtronics is going to be known for one programming game, they should stick with that one programming game and focus very hard on making a sequel to that one game, and only that one game, and not try to make other games that are slightly different but generally the same thing. And I don't, off the tip of my tongue, know the name of the Zachtronics puzzle programming game that they should be known for and that they are known for, but I can tell you it's not Opus Magnum. I think it might be either Infinifactory or SpaceChem. But, man, you know what? I could just look it up. Instead of being ignorant and staying ignorant, I can just click on this and click on this, and yeah, Exapunks is SHENZHEN I. Yeah. SHENZHEN I in particular makes me think Zachtronics is a Chinese company. Infinifactory also. They also have a game called SpaceChem. And yeah, TIS 100. Some of these I definitely not get. SHENZHEN Solitaire if you just like the solitaire game in SHENZHEN IO. If anything, Exapunks is the game that came out after Opus Magnum, and it does kind of look like they may be improved upon that. And weirdly, they have several other games after that point that there's a game called Eliza that doesn't look like it's a programming game at all. But yeah, I'd say SHENZHEN IO is the game that they should be known for, and that they are mostly known for. And they should have simply continued to make a SHENZHEN IO 2 instead of even trying to make Exapunks or Opus Magnum. Although maybe it is a case that I've just picked the one programming game they've made that's bad, in my opinion, and the other two I'd like quite a bit. I think maybe SHENZHEN IO just gets directly towards the concept of what they're presenting. Anyways, reading this, we have Guest of Honor, Taros Colvane of House Colvane, Lania Preus of House Montfort. We haven't even heard of that house. Gino Juvenal of House Juvenal. So there's like 2 more houses that could be in a potential sequel. Also presenting Clara Soraya of House Soraya. Music from the Orchestre Cuvier de Soraya Ensembles. So they have their whole ensemble in orchestras, each house does. And the entertainment is the Right Baron's Players. Science Will. Let's see. Vernon and Taros Colvane, both people we haven't really seen in 2 or 3 chapters. Veron is my understanding the alchemist must pass difficult courses of study at the Imperial University, and therefore only a very small number graduate. That is correct, and therefore alchemists tend to keep track of each other, even as they spread out across the city. Oftentimes, it falls then, would it not, that the alchemist of a house like House Colvane would be aware of another house like House Van Tassen, aware that another house like House Van Tassen had a new alchemist. Taurus, I see where this is going, and I want to say, and yet I'm surprised to say that my alchemist somehow neglected to keep this in mind, and did nothing to detain or incapacitate him during this time. How strange, don't you think? I've explained this. We made our best attempt, but he slipped away somehow. If you notified me sooner that a shipment of ore was missing... Excuses, I hear only excuses from you. Please, young Taros, must I remind you that your father and I... My father should have gotten rid of you long ago. You're not fit to mention his name. You fancy yourself a strategist, but your counsel is worth even less than your alchemy. Leave me. You're making a mistake, Taros. I said leave. Well, I'm surprised he didn't kill him, frankly, instead of just firing him. Alright, let's go back to Sigmar's Garden, I guess. Okay. There are 8 of these, which means you can get 4 and 4 of this. And there are only 4 of these. So it's not that you have to have assault and assault matched together. It's that if you use assault on something. You then have to use another salt on things. The only way you'll ever win is if you use 0 salts to make a match, which is unlikely, 2 salts to make 2 matches, or 4 salts to make 4 matches. And unfortunately, this deal immediately requires me to use one of the salts. Now we just have way too much mercury showing, which that might be a good thing, but I don't know if it is. Okay, which one? If I use this one, it won't. Well, it would. It would reveal this one and this one. Unlocking quite a bit, actually. Let's do that and that. This would do this. So that's 1. Now that's actually 2. Can we win here? That is always the ultimate question. And I guess you keep your eyes on the salt above everything else, because everything else will just fall into place and work regardless. This one lights up that. This one lights up that. This one lights up that. We click on that one. Alright. Now do I want to play another one of these? I kind of am far behind, so I think it probably is worth it to play one more Sigmar's Garden. Let's go ahead and open this path so we can get rid of some greens. So we can get rid of some greens. So we can open up some other options. Let's get rid of these. Do that. Do that. Do we have another metal showing? No. So this air and this air we should just sit on, since they're not blocking any other marbles from being revealed. I'm gonna take this, and that reveals the metal. Then I'm gonna use that. Then do this. You know what, I'm gonna start with this one. Take this. Get rid of these. Take this. Take that one out with that one. Go ahead and click that. Take that one out with that one. Take that one out with that one. And then salt and salt to finish it. Could we get lucky here and get 2 more victories so we can move the story forward? Maybe. Although this looks like a nightmare, frankly. Find it fairly questionable if we're going to be able to manage getting through 3 of the remaining 4 pieces here. Mercury on that. Hoping this is right, but seems like probably not. This one has to play this one, but there's kind of no reason to play that yet. Let's play this first. This one on that one. There we go. That, and that. And I guess in that case I could have played a fire and assault and a fire and assault if I wanted to. I don't think that would have made much of a difference. One more game of Sigmar's Garden, and maybe that will unlock the other version of Sigmar's Garden, which possibly might be a little bit easier. Or it might just be a little bit more wild and crazy, and wild and crazy might lead to something maybe a little bit more interesting. If I do this, I get nothing. If I do this, I get nothing. I don't see how you win here. Yeah. Just start over. Okay, do we want to play assault on assault, or do we want to just get rid of pieces? I think you probably try and not play salts on salts if you can avoid it. That opened up quite a bit. That opened up nothing. Seriously? Managed to have 3 things available and none of them match. We have a 3 here, which means one of these has to be on the fire, so we have to keep 1 salt. Meanwhile, I guess that means I have to do this and then this, and so now 1 is maybe not, maybe I was wrong. We got it. I lucked into it though. And so that is the second of 5 achievements in this game. The story continues. For something for something so frivolous, you do seem to rather be enjoying yourself. I would completely disagree with that. Maybe a little. There's some strategies to pick up on. Yes, you can win more reliably with a bit of practice and attention. So who was Sigmar? Why am I clearing his garden? You tell me. Me? Why would I know? Because he was an alchemist from long ago, wasn't he? I've never heard of anyone named Sigmar. You're quite certain? It's possible he was one of the apocryphal folk hero alchemists, imaginary in other words. Or it's possible you didn't pay attention in your history courses. Please, I was a model student. Alright, and so we now know you get 10 wins, and then you're just you need 25 more wins at that point. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to play it for 15 more times, even if I was guaranteed a win every single time. In solitaire, just like a card solitaire game, there is kind of a high chance that you will win. Enough that loss is quite the rarity. Sigmar's Garden, not quite to that. So, next recording, hopefully we can get through like 2 or 3 of these and we don't get a big difficulty spike. And then either we finish the story in the next 2 or 3 episodes, or we get to the next chapter and realize that there's going to be maybe 4 or 5 more episodes. Golden Thread was fairly easy. Alchemical Jewel, although kind of crazy big, was fairly easy. I would have to go back and look at any of these puzzles because I don't even remember them at this point, which that's a problem, certainly. I believe it was Very Dark Thread that was super difficult, though. Maybe I was just half asleep when I was doing it. Either it was Very Dark Thread, or it was the Surrender Flare. Which, the Surrender Flare, stripping the center element reagent and changing it to be a different color. That's like the only time we had that gimmick happen. And it feels like that should have happened more often. Yeah, as I'm looking at all of these puzzles, I just don't remember really any of them, so I couldn't even really mention one that felt like it was doing something different. That they're all pathetically similar, unfortunately, and they've not given us any real item that we could use consistently to make things more efficient. The one thing I definitely would have loved was functions, some way to functionalize things. Meanwhile, we finally at some point got the stabilized water to have the best number of cycles, best number of cost, and best number of area, but I had to work on it an incredibly hard amount of times to try and figure out how to save area. Yeah. And I guess this does go to show that we've come a fairly long way, because if I was struggling to write code like this, then then we have kind of learned quite a bit. Oddly, that's not the cheapest cost, though. The cost that's the cheapest is here, and it just sacrifices space for cost. And I bet that's probably true for most solutions, is to just use more of an area. And then to reduce the number of cycles down to 20 cycles, I created this monstrosity. Is just like trying to move as much as possible, as fast as possible. Well, no, I think I speculated on this monstrosity, and the actual least number of cycles probably is this one. Which just speeds it up fairly well. But that's not the absolute least number of cycles. So at some point I did have the least number of cycles, and then I started changing it after a point. And I did a bad job of keeping a copy of what I did. Is there any reason potentially you'd want to go and try and make some like refined gold with this? I don't think so. Even if we could make it more efficient, we can't really take up less area or less cost. So the real solution here was to just, I think I missed a cycle here. Either that or I tried something like this when it should have been something closer to that. Again, I had a solution and then I didn't keep a copy of the solution. Yeah. To save efficiency, you would ideally want to try and put as many of these on as many of these as possible. But I don't know if I really even see like a great solution here. Just like start with something here, start with something here, pick up, extend, reset. As soon as that extends, pick up, extend, reset. And then your big challenge is just to put a whole bunch of mercury in the place it needs to be. And so you could probably overcomplicate this with grabbing a piece here while it's out. But also you probably wouldn't want to overcomplicate it. Instead would just want to swing an arm out and remove that as quickly as possible. So pick up, retract, reset, pick up, retract, reset. We've got to buffer these. And then you've got to repeat this process. A few times. Probably a couple more times than I'm counting for. Yep. Let's see. Let's risk overshooting it and put 2 repeats here. Okay. Now, move this one here and grab that. Move that one here and grab that. Put one here. Put an item here. Item here. And at right about this point, pick up and then extend and then reset and then pick up, extend, and reset. And I bet this still somehow is just not going to be as efficient. Interesting. Let's move this here. Move this one here. There you go. This is gonna be like 60 or 70 cycles. Yeah. So we got it down from our previous best of 81 to 62. And I would kind of be hard pressed to believe that there's much more speed up that could happen. No. The only thing that seems kind of out of place is maybe we could get rid of this reset. Just put it at the beginning. And this reset. And maybe that means we could maybe put a reset here. How's that? Bump everything like that. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Although, I'm questioning why it needs to reset anyways. It's like, why is it using two resets? Why does it use two spaces? Because it has to let go, oh, and then retract. So at this point, if it was just let go and then retract, let go, retract, and then pick up, and extend, then you would have to basically replace everything here with pick up, extend, reset, pick up, extend, reset, and then pick up, extend, reset. One of these is not like the other. Extend, extend, retract. I don't think any of them are supposed to be extend, they're supposed to be retracts. But what I fear I've done here is made a mess that now let's see. I may have made a mess here, and it may not really have saved me very many cycles. And I may still very well. So let go at that point. Also let go at that point. And then just put a retract code here. And a retract code here. Which just means start here. I guess the question is there anything here that's really slowing you down? If this one starts as retract, then it should actually be here. Yeah, it seems like I'm just spelling out code. Arguably, spelling out code probably is the better move, though, instead of just using the reset. That is the one danger of functions, certainly, is that you can create something that you can create a function that would confuse you as to what's actually going on. That one goes into place as fast as possible. If anything, it just kind of feels like maybe on the reset cycle something is kind of slow. But yeah, that was 69 versus 62. So in trying to improve my code, I have added code, probably by simply moving that one step out of place. And the risk does just seem very high that you would do something like that. Now we're down to 66. Which again, maybe. Yeah. Because there's kind of nothing here. Like, unless I could drag all the code that way, which I can't. That's as tight as it's gonna get. Maybe I could drag this code here a little bit tighter, but it probably wouldn't help me any. Nope. And where this falls apart is, sure, I can see myself optimizing the code there. Now we're back to 62. And that's probably the lowest. I'd have to just resolve to believing that that is the lowest score. The lowest number of cycles possible. But I have no clue whatsoever as to how your next step would be played here. Like, if this was a more difficult puzzle. Like, let's just go to stamina potion for a choice. Like, once you start to have crazy optimization or crazy products, well, once you start to have crazy products, you need crazy optimization, and yeah. There might be something I see here that you could work with, but I don't think there's too much you can work with, because you've got to make that gold. So then I would have to try and take what I did before and take the gold piece and put it with everything else and take it to the next step. And if you could copy and paste things, that would be great, but you don't have that opportunity. When you click copy, it just makes a copy in the same field and folder here. It doesn't let you say take the copy from refined gold and the design from refined gold and put it into another puzzle and define that as a function. Where this game could have been really interesting is if we had build something like this, and then that triggered a response from the game where they said, oh, you've just made what we have determined to be the perfect design. We're going to let you use this perfect design going forward. It's going to be a saved design up here. And maybe in some puzzles you'll pull out your saved design and it'll say, well, we don't have this component and this component, so that's grayed out, but everything else is the same. The code is still there. Everything is still there. Ideally, you would want to see a case where you created a fairly decent design at the beginning in like the tutorial, and then that design you could then use that in your future designs of future puzzles. And what could happen is, as you play through the game, you go back and go, oh, actually, I know a way to improve this design, so let's take this really smart design and let's change it, and then let's go back and see all of the puzzles we've done before and have them highlighted and saying, you need to run this puzzle again to see if it still works and to see if your new design has improved it at all. If I came back and found out that stabilized water, for instance, was at its highest rankings just because I played through the game and I'd thought of new ideas, that would have been great. Or if by getting the highest scores on stabilized waters, it somehow helped me in doing the Chapter 5 puzzles, that would be great. But none of that happens. And frankly, even in 7 Billion Humans, while you could kind of copy and paste things, I think in 7 Billion Humans, maybe not in Human Resource Machine, the prequel to the first game in that series, you could definitely copy and paste code. So there definitely was a way to potentially write decent code for what you could do in 7 Billion Humans and then copy it and bring it to the next puzzle. And they thought a lot of the puzzles and a lot of the programming through, and it very much felt like an educational game, where this is not something I could call educational. If anything, this is just going to confuse potential future programmers. Anyways, we've gone way too long. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.